How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on this video, we're going to be replacing the VCM solenoid. This is the part number right here for most of them. 9 out of 10 times, this is the part number you need. And this is what it looks like. All we need really is just the two gaskets that go in between here. But I do like to replace the solenoids. The customer paid for it anyways. And this isn't sold separately. Unfortunately, Honda doesn't sell the two gaskets separately, so this is how we have to do it. You could also replace the whole solenoid, but that requires removing a valve cover and the rocker arm assembly, readjusting the valve, so it's a lot more labor intensive. So the real problem is the two gaskets anyways, so customers opt to do that 9 out of 10 times. And essentially, if you have a Pilot, you can have this cover here. It's hard to see, but some Accords and Odysseys don't have such a big cover, so it really depends on the model. Some Acuras as well. So very easy. Turn these counterclockwise, a quarter turn. These pop out. Move the cover out the way. 9 out of 10 times, these grommets will be stuck on here like so. This one I already removed, so you can see grommet is missing there, and this one is installed. So you want to make sure you take that off the cover and put them on there. Just so your cover's secure properly and not flapping around. And we're going to take a closer look here. So if you have one of these cars, one of these engines, anything with a V6 Honda, open the hood, take a look. If you see any oil over here, like you see so, active oil, and that's leaking on top of the alternator and effectively damaged it. So you're going to want to check this before you do damage the alternator. So in this case, I'm going to be replacing both, but on this video, I'm just going to show you how to replace the solenoid, and it's really easy. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you step by step exactly what you need to do. All right, guys, so first things first, coolant reservoir just slides off this bracket right over here, and then you kind of just move out the way. I like to work with space. And then you're going to unplug these two solenoids here, and then there's these tabs, one over here and one back in here. And just to release that and move the harness out of the way. And I also like to loosen this 10 millimeter down in here, right over the alternator bracket. I'm gonna have to replace the alternator anyways, but regardless, I always remove this. And it's just a 10, very simple. Careful not to drop it. See what it looks like. So very easy. And like I said, I like to work with space, so this gives us a little bit more space because it does get a little tight. So you're going to want to have this space over here. And also remove the dipstick. Set that aside. Now, like I said, I'm replacing this alternator, but let's pretend that the alternator isn't damaged yet. You're going to want to try to cover it as best as possible. You're not gonna, obviously avoid all the oil from falling on top of it, but hopefully you get most of it. And now this has 3 10 mils, one on the top. This bolt you can either reuse or toss because the new one comes with it. I like to put on the new bolts just so it looks better. And 2 on the bottom. A little bit shorter, and I believe this one's short as well. And that's basically it. The solenoid's going to be loose at this point. So like I said, this harness makes it a little bit difficult to see, but you just start wiggling it. Get the solenoid out the way. So this is one of the gaskets that's attached to it. We're going to be replacing this one along with the solenoid. There's also 2 dowels. You can see them, one right here, and then there's another one right over here. So you're gonna want to take those off. All right, now you're gonna you can either leave the dowels or take them off. Doesn't really matter. The new one does come with them. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna put over here just for now. Same thing with the bottom one. If it's being stubborn, you could just leave it and remove it off the new valve. Now you're going to take a flathead, like so. Just kind of break this loose. And actually, the bottom gasket came along with it. So this is the bottom gasket, and it comes with this sandwich plate in between them. So I like to reuse all the new stuff, even though it doesn't really matter. And now you have all these channels filled with oil. You're gonna try to clean those as best as possible. And then once you replace the valve, then I go ahead and clean the remainder of the stuff. All right, so like I said, try to clean this as best as possible. You could do the external cleaning before or after, but when you remove the valve, additional oil falls, so I like to do it just afterwards. And you just have to make sure these channels are clean. They don't have to be perfect. They're gonna get oil filled again. And I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so this is a new solenoid, and they do sell some of these gaskets aftermarket, but they end up to leak anyway, so I stopped using them. I tried them a couple times and they were no good. So we're gonna take this apart again. And the bottom one, or the top one, I have this upside down. And you're just gonna split this apart very carefully, wiggle it. And you can see one of the dowels is stuck on here and the other one on here, so no big deal. The shield, the other dowel. So I'm gonna put one dowel up here, and then one dowel down in here. All right, so this half of the gasket we had to get out of here. We had to remove it because we're not replacing this bottom part. Although, you know, if you're doing it that way, then obviously you don't even need to take it apart. But most people, like I said before, opt to do it this way just because of cost savings. So new gaskets on the bottom, as you can see. I'm gonna put this plate on. Goes like so. That's on there like that. And then you make sure your dowels are both on there. Just kind of slide that into place and start tightening everything. You could do this by hand. Actually, I would recommend against an impact, because, and then I'm just gonna double check them. At this point, you connect everything. And the reason I do this before cleaning is to make sure no chemicals get in there, no brake fluid or whatever you're using, clean it. And then obviously, you don't want to go crazy cleaning this, because once again, the alternator, especially if it's good, you don't want to damage it. So don't go crazy cleaning it. If you're replacing the alternator, then you could be a little bit more thorough, I suppose. Regardless, as long as you stop the oil leak, that's what's really important. And then make sure you put this bolt back down in here. Like I said, I'm going to be replacing the alternator on this one because this customer's too late. So there's no point in me putting it back right now. So yeah, at this point, you would re-clean everything and then just attach it all back together. So with that being said, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys, you know, learn something. Hopefully this helps somebody out and prevents you from having you know, an unexpected expense down the road. You know, if you just replace the solenoid, it's a lot cheaper than replacing the whole alternator, obviously. And you know, once again, I have removed the dipstick as well, but it gets in the way of changing the alternator, so I'm not going to put it back just yet. But that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.